Welcome. This lecture talks about the tribal development. Now, tribal development has been facing various challenges since the time of independence. There have been various participatory governance and local resource development which have been involved to uplift the scheduled tribes in India, but there have been constant challenges. So far, if we talk about total population, they constitute only 8.6% of the total population, and even 92% of them live in a rural area. The proportion of ST population to the total population has increased significantly in the last 40 years, and therefore socio-economic progress needs to be important. Now, Constitution has made certain safeguards and amendments including the fundamental rights which are bestowed and the protection for the scheduled tribe areas. There have been various development plans under the 5-year planning. So under the first 5-year plan, settled agriculture was introduced, and government recognized the need for an integrated planning. Under the second 5-year plan, scheduled areas under 4 heads were demarcated for various programs. Under the third plan, there was equality of opportunity for SC/STs and ensuring that they have been rehabilitated for the economic activities. Fourth plan talked about intensive development of the areas where tribal population is high. Pilot projects were released in Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. Then under the fifth plan, tribal sub-plan was released, and this was a very important way of promoting the developmental activities and improving their living standards. Under the sixth plan, the scheduled areas were expanded, more infrastructure facilities were provided. Under the seventh plan, Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation, which is an apex body for the state tribal cooperation, was introduced, and LAMS, which is the Large Agriculture Multipurpose Society, was strengthened by broadening the base for the various activities. Under the eighth plan, eliminating any kind of exploitation of the ST activities was involved. Under the ninth plan, there was right of freely introducing the concepts. The 10th plan talked about the issues of tribal society on a time-bound manner. The 11th plan talked about welfare measures. And if we talk about the socio-economic development, we can understand the Tendulkar methodology, which was introduced under the Planning Commission to understand the poverty incidences. Literacy rates have been identified, and huge amount of literacy gap has been found between the total population and the ST population. Also, males versus females, the literacy gap has been higher. Providing them a level playing field, so bringing them under the skill development scheme. So Ministry of Skill Development has started Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Jan Shikshan Sansthan, National Apprenticeship Program, Craftsman Training and so on. For their welfare, if we talk about the total population, most of them reside in Madhya Pradesh, followed by Maharashtra and Odisha. So those three are the top states. Now in 1999, this Ministry of Tribal Affairs got separated from Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and this was a very important step. Under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Yashasvi scheme has been released for Young Achievers Scholarship Award Scheme for Vibrant India, and that is one of the separate lectures that we have covered independently, so you can go through that. So under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, what are the ideas that must be transmitted? So it is developing the marketing system, education, benefit of the scheduled areas, organizing various developmental programs. Under the welfare schemes, it talks about Eklavya residential schools, grants and aid, scholarship and support for development and marketing purpose. Now, one of the scheme is PM Janjati Vikas Yojana, which is mainly for tribal livelihood, minor forest produce, Vandhan Vikas Kendra, which target for harnessing the wealth of the forest, providing them the areas for logistic development. The next is Venture Capital Fund for Scheduled Tribes, which talks about promoting entrepreneurship. Startup India, where 10 lakh to 1 crore would be given to at least one SC/ST borrower and one women borrower in all the branches of the scheduled banks of India. Now here, if 100% stake is not there and an individual filing for the Startup India is not there, in that case 51% of the shareholding should be by an SC/ST candidate in order to avail the benefits. The next is implementation of the employment generation program, specifically in the non-farm sector. So under the Khadi Village Industries Commission, this has been taken into account. Those living under poverty line, which are into the category of landless agricultural laborers, do not have any productive assets, would be one of the major participants to these schemes, and this would also ensure that self-governance is being promoted. Now, if you talk about tribal art is a rich section. During the Paleolithic period, Upper Paleolithic period, there were various tools and artistic attempts were made. 12 years before the discovery of Altamira in Spain, which is considered as the oldest rock painting, there were various discoveries even in India. So in India, the rock paintings account from Bhimbetka, Jogimara in Madhya Pradesh, Lakhudiyar in Uttarakhand, Teklakota in Karnataka, Kupgalu in Telangana. So extremely important for your objective questions. Now, what kind of artifacts? So it could be fox, it could be lizard, it could be a creature with a long nose, geometric patterns with red and black designs. During the Mesolithic period, hunting scenes became important. During the Copper period, red sandstone figures came into important. The lost wax melting technique was introduced, and there were ceatite seals for various animals which were introduced along with various deities. Now, Schedule 5 of the Indian Constitution talks about the scheduled tribe, referring to the tribe that the Constitution recognizes. So, there are 645 different tribes in India, and under the Unity in Diversity motto, bringing them together and bringing an awareness for those tribes is important. The individual native style of each of the tribe is again unique. So, Bhils in India is one of the largest tribal group. They have a very rich texture, ritual, symbolism which is taken into account. Now, along with Bhil, Gond again perform very fine artwork. Sora is again a culture from jungles in the regions of Odisha, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, and in the Sora art, tree of life is again a symbolism. The deity is Idital, which is also known as Italon or Icon. There are various types of crafts. For example, Dhokra craft, where lost wax casting technique is used. Lost wax casting technique we have covered in our NCERT class 12 lectures on Indian heritage. You can refer that into detail. Prahlad Natakam and Jatsari are inspiration for Desya Nata of tribal Odisha. Then we also have pottery. So Longpi pottery, where potter's wheel is not used, rather molds are used to give a design. Bamboo crafts, Thul, which is a double walled basket, is used. Then dance and music is again important part of it. So the Kalbelia dance is one of those. Khanjari and Pungi, through which catching the snakes is done, is one of the important artifacts. Then Badwa tribal dance in Dadra and Nagar Haveli is another important dance where a mask is worn and colorful costumes are used. Mudiyatam is another tribal dance in Kerala. Gusadi is another dance from Telangana. In Karnataka, it is Dolu Kunita. And Tarfor Pavri, which is an instrument interestingly made of dried gourd. Now, this is also known as Trafnach or Pavrinach. Then there are various drum instruments which are used. Gond section, which is known as Bhima, play single-headed drums, which is again an important aspect of it. Now, before the independence, the Forest Act, which came into 1927, it marked that the forest area, which was not privately owned, could be considered as a reserved area, and there was no settlement rights which were formulated for tribal communities, and large areas were not surveyed for this purpose. So, tribal people involved in agriculture continued to cultivate, but they were not given the ownership for the land. After the independence, there were various changes and Panchsheel policy was brought, where tribals were given certain rights on land, rights in the forest. Their teams talked about development. When we talk about the livelihood, under Article 275, there are special financial grants which are provided for socio-economic welfare. Then there are various tribal products for marketing of the products, for minimum support price, Vandan Yojana scheme, as we already discussed in the beginning. In the northeast, again, the highest percentage of tribals are seen in Arunachal Pradesh, followed by Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya. The proportions, sorry, not the highest percent is in Arunachal Pradesh. So that's the percentage of tribal population of the total population. So that's highest in the case of Mizoram, right? Followed by Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh. Now, the Vandan Yojana talks about the livelihood of the tribal communities in terms of the forest produce and the forest agriculture. Government has provided 100% fund through the TRIFED scheme, and it talks about providing every cluster nearly 15 lakh rupees for various activities. Under the Nagaland's Department for Development of Underdeveloped Areas, which is DUDA, the hill brooms are on a high demand. Hill brooms intervention of Vandan Yojana has brought numerous changes in the lives of Longelong and other backward districts of Nagaland and have increased their incomes. The next is indigenous knowledge system. Now, tribal community has a very sound indigenous knowledge system. Despite the fact they are vulnerable, they are marginal, they lack modern facilities, they do have indigenous skills which needs to be preserved. And under the UN Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, the right of indigenous people to self-determine and self-governance is another important right. So training the local area, ensuring that their knowledge is given intellectual property right, there are benefit sharing issues, and how do that indigenous knowledge can be percolated to masses. So creating a consortium for that, helping the local people come and become entrepreneurs of those indigenous knowledge. So that indigenous knowledge should come from community or individual and can go up to a level of policy making. Then not only this, tribal tourism is another segment. So there have been development of tribal tourism circuit in Chhattisgarh, which has been implemented under the scheme of Swadesh Darshan Yojana in India. Then there are various ethnic tourism villages, for example Sarodhar Dadar, which is one of the sites. Then you have Nathin Vegon, Kondagaon, Jagdalpur, and so on. So those are some of the list which is there. Then there has been Ministry of Tourism talking about tourism talking about the national strategy and roadmap for development of rural tourism based on the SWOT analysis, which is understanding the strength, weakness, opportunities, and the threat. So under this we have one special community which is Tharu tribe living in the Tarai foothills of Himalaya. This is one of the scheduled tribes of India. The people here worship earth and Bhumsen, which they call them in their local language. They also worship Mahadev or Lord Shiv, and they are worshippers of Theravada Buddhism. Now, maximum people from this tribe are forest dwellers, or they collect the minor forest produce. They have various items. For example, Tharu plate is known as bhagia or dhikri, which is a steamed dish which is rice flour eaten with chutney, and an edible snail which is cooked in a curry. Then there are various schemes. For example, Tharu Janjati Museum has been established at Imlai Kodar village in Balrampur district, and this is one of the unique tribal Janjati museum which is established. Sonbhadra, Lakhimpur Kheri, and Lucknow have been considered as sites for construction of tribal museum. The advantage of tribal tourism is it empowers the tribes, it brings in development, it connects them to the mainstream population. There are various development methodologies that could be brought, economic and social empowerment can be done, and it ultimately brings in the indigenous knowledge to the masses. So handicrafts can be brought to the public. If we look onto the total chart, we can see of the total tourism, Tamil Nadu has the highest domestic tourism, followed by Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka, and from the foreign tourists we have Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu accounting for the largest share. Now from this, if we see of the total percentage in literacy rate, the tribal percentage, the literacy rate for scheduled tribes is extensively less as compared to the total population, specifically in the section of female population. The gross enrollment rate has been very less. Also, the dropout in the primary is very high. The dropout for SC/ST in the secondary is again remarkable. So there have been instances that we need to understand. So the lower line in all of the cases is for general population. The upper line in all of these three graphs talk about the ST population. So as we can see, higher amount of drop rate in each of the segment, but under the secondary, the dropout significantly increases. So these are some of the important things. But there are numerous programs which have been brought. For example, Eklavya residential program. You have scholarship schemes, overseas scholarship, post-metric scholarship, pre-metric scholarship, tribal research institute, development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups. But the major challenge each of these schemes face is medium of instruction. There is low learning levels. There is no adequate infrastructure despite the fact it has been taken for, and then there are lack of teacher availability, lack of appropriate training system. No one wants to go and settle in the remote area, so lack of availability, lack of faculty and facilities in those areas. So that needs to be chalked out. So under the National Education Policy 2020, we are trying to bridge those social gaps and bring in equity and inclusion. Bring in more education for the tribals, focus on the Indian knowledge system, promoting that for greater good, focusing on traditional and organic cultivation, natural farming, increasing the pupil teacher ratio, focusing on the areas having large socio-economic disadvantaged students to develop more, and giving the availability to a greater number of students and teachers. So those are some of the key things that we have discussed in this edition of Kurukshetra. We would be discussing Yojana Kurukshetra down to earth every month. Towards the end of the month, you would have the gist for all these 4 editions. Down to earth is released every fortnightly. So all these 4 would come towards the end of the month. So do stay subscribed for updates, and for practice questions on these topics and handouts, do follow the links below. Have a wonderful day ahead.